Hi, everyone, and Happy New Year to you. I'm filming this on Christmas, or Christmas, New Year's Eve. And so I hope everyone has a fantastic new year and welcome to 2025. If you're watching this sometime in the future, then it's old news, but I hope everyone has a good holiday. We're talking about Psalm 127 today. It's up on the screen. You can download this PDF on our website for free if you want it. Okay, the author, we do know the author of Psalm 127, and it's an interesting one. It's not David, it's actually David's son, King Solomon. We still don't have any New Testament references to this psalm again today. We do have a couple things to talk about under the theme section and one word to define. For our themes today, the first section is about God being the source of all security and success in life. The second section is about children being a blessing and a reward from the Lord. In terms of our word to define, it's the word quiver. Now, you may very well know what a quiver is, but for those who don't, it appears in verse 5. A quiver is the portable container that holds an archer's arrows when he goes out to the battlefield. It's another short one. Again, today we've just got 5 verses. Our first section, though, we do have 2 sections. The first one is verses 1 through 2. God is the only true security. So Solomon begins this psalm by reminding his readers that a person is not going to find any true security outside of God. He wrote, quote, "Unless the Lord builds the house, those who build it labor in vain. Unless the Lord watches over the city, the watchman stays awake in vain." A person can expend themselves, they can work super hard, but unless the Lord's blessing is behind it, they're not going to accomplish anything. Now, these statements are pretty significant coming from Solomon because Solomon was the richest man of his generation. If anyone could have built something or secured something, Solomon could have. But he said that even he couldn't do it unless the Lord permitted him to do it. These builders, these watchmen, they woke up early, they went to bed late at night. They were constantly and anxiously working away to complete their work in hopes of finding some security, right? They're always busy, always anxious, always, concerned with the next thing. In contrast, those who look to God for their security rest easy and find peace in Him. Now, section number 2, verses 3 through 5, can seem a little bit connected from the first part, but I think there is a connection that the author's trying to make, and I've tried to lay that out here. The second section, I've entitled it God's Blessing of Children. So we're talking about securing one's household. And Solomon said that one way that a man could secure his household was through having children. But he was also very quick to remind his readers that children come from the Lord, right? And so sure, you can have children, but again, that's only with God's permission. You're only going to succeed in building a household if God is behind it. Solomon wrote that children are like arrows in the quiver of a warrior. They're an honor to their parents. They are God's gift to a family for their reputation and their protection. This discussion of children as a blessing will be the theme for our application today. So let's go down there. In our culture, I think especially in my generation and the generation below me, perhaps, children are often considered a curse rather than a blessing. They're looked at as a burden, as a financial liability, as a hindrance to achieving one's ideal lifestyle. Abortion and birth control are really popular. They've never been in higher demand. This is one example of how our culture has lost touch with its creator. Satan has woven this negative narrative about children into the minds of a generation, and he's been very successful at changing the way that people look at kids. I have to be honest, like in my younger years, I kind of bought into some of this. Satan is telling us that children are a curse, that they are a burden, while God is telling us that they are a reward, and Jesus is telling us that they are the models of those who hope to enter the kingdom of heaven. Jesus says in the New Testament that you want to enter the kingdom of heaven, be like little children. So the question is, whose narrative are we going to believe? That children are a curse, or that children are a blessing? That children are holding us back from being who we want to be, or that children will help us become who God wants us to be?